Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King, and we'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational, religious, spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being, by no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being. Whether that name is God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Buddha, Jehovah, the essence, the creator, the I am, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed Almighty. Today is September the 1st, 2016. That's right. A brand new month, and this year is fastly approaching, is in September the 1st, 2016. And I remind you of that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because this program is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. You see the telephone number that's on your screen. I invite you to use that number, call in, and join the discussion. If there's something that's going on in your church, your mosque, your synagogue, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to let the world know about it, call in and let the world know about it. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to let the world know about it, call in and let the world know about it. More important than what's going on in your place of worship, more important than what's going in your nonprofit organization, if God has made a miracle in your life, and I did say miracle, and I meant that literally, if God has worked a miracle in your life. See, the God that I'm here to tell you about tonight is working miracles. The God I'm here to tell you about worked miracles today, September 1st, 2016. Worked miracles all around the world. And when I say make a miracle, work the miracle, I'm talking about made something extraordinary happen, something that you just can't explain. Made a way out of no way. If God worked a miracle in your life, it may have been some type of health problem that you had, and God healed you. Maybe the doctor said that there was nothing else they could do for you. The medicine wasn't working, and miraculously, you were healed. Call in and share your testimony with the world. You know, it may be someone that's going through something similar right now, or that will watch this show later on, and they're giving up hope because the doctor can't cure them. Hearing your testimony, hearing how God worked a miracle in your life, it might be the one thing that they need to encourage them, to give them strength, to help them to hold on. So call in and share your testimony with the world. That's right, I've been saying share it with the world because this show, as I speak right now, is being seen not only here in the city of New Orleans, not only in the United States of America, but as I speak right now, this show is beaming live around the world. That's right, folks that are in Nairobi, Kenya right now can tune in. You see that website that's on your TV screen? www.livestream.com/MessengerDNK. Lock that website into your web browser. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go to that website and watch the message live. And no matter where you are in the world, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on Thursdays, even in Nairobi, Kenya, you can visit that website and watch the message live. You can also visit our main website, and our main website is www.godisalmighty.org. And there you see it on the screen, www.godisalmighty.org. That's our main website. You visit that website, lock that one into your web browser. Visit that main website, and there are links to all of our social media outlets, including our live stream, where you can watch this show live. So lock that into your web browser. And guess what? I said social media outlets. We are being seen not only on live stream, but we're also being seen live right now on Facebook. That's correct. And that web address of Facebook, Donatus, Danatus, N King, King. Go to that Facebook page and you can watch the show live. And I invite you, some of you, I see you during the week and you say, man, I was going to call in, but I'm kind of shy. Well, you can actually put a comment on Facebook and we'll be able to pick that comment up. So leave a comment. And I want to thank everyone that watched on Facebook last week. That was our first week. And we had some bugs that we're trying to work out. And we're trying to improve. Every week, we're going to try to make this show better and better and better, a better viewing experience to aid the dialogue between us and the sharing of knowledge and the sharing of information. So I want to thank all of you that watched on Facebook last week and gave us your comments, your feedback, quality control. We have some things that we tweaked a little bit with the video, and hopefully it's working a little bit better this week. But I say every week, it's going to be our goal to get better and better and better. So thank you all, and leave your comments. Leave your comments. Those comments are very, very helpful. One of our viewers on Facebook last week said that she wanted to know a little bit more about the scientific aspects of the topic that we discussed last week, and we're going to pick back up on that again this week, and that's gifts of the Spirit. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I also had some of our regular viewers that called in and said they kind of missed out last week, that we didn't get a chance to really do the announcements. So we're going to do that this week. But again, I invite you to go to Facebook and join us on Facebook. Leave your comments, join the discussion. And as we progress, every week I said we're going to work at getting better and better. We're going to work, and hopefully we were trying to get that done today, so that when you leave your comments on Facebook, that we'll be able to read them actually while we're during the program and be able to respond to your comments here, live on Facebook. So, that's where we're working to. That's what we're progressing towards. But let's get straight into our show right now and our announcements, our religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of the first book of Thessalonians, first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21. Who, what you really are. This is what we talked about in last week. Who, what you really are, and the spiritual gifts of the Spirit, paranormal powers, fact of fiction, and we went through some scriptures last week. If you're a follower of any of the Judeo-Christian religions, and that includes Christianity, that includes Judaism, and also it includes Islam. And here are different references where in those religious works it talk about miracles and things that can't be explained other than that they are supernatural. We also talked last week a little bit about the U.S. government exploring supernatural events. And we talked briefly, and I'm gonna just go to show you how the Spirit works. Last week, we talked about all of this, and I'm going to get into it a little bit more. And since the viewer last week invited me to speak a little bit more about the scientific basis, we're going to do that. But just to how everything ties in. Now, I've been having discussions lately with different people and telling them that operating on the spiritual level, okay, not the carnal level, but the spiritual level. And some folks will call it a spiritual level, some call it a higher level of consciousness. But operating on that level, there's been a feeling, okay, a feeling that I've been getting, something that I've been hearing about something supernatural, something out of the ordinary getting ready to happen. Something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary getting ready to happen. And not to say that I'm a prophet, but to say that for anyone that's trying to figure out what the heck am I talking about, if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in the Quran, and I'm not saying that you should or you have to, I'm saying if you do, then those books speak about people that had premonitions, that knew things that were about to happen, knew about things that was going to happen in the future, predicted things that were going to happen in the future. And those people, the Bible and the Quran calls them prophets. So if you believe in the Bible and the Quran, then you believe that indeed that is an ability that some folks had thousands of years ago when the Quran was written, when the Bible was written. And if you believe that thousands of years ago folks had knowledge about things that were going to occur in the future, then what has changed from thousands of years ago? Do we have folks now that have premonitions, that have knowledge about things that are going to occur in the future? We're going to come back to that, but I understand we do have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, Brother Chris. You know, Brother Chris, I apologize, and I'm apologizing ahead of time. I know we spoke earlier, but I did not have an opportunity to change our announcements as far as the books during the Bible study. So, you know, I will read it off, but I did not get a chance to make the change on the screen. But do you have something else you want to share with us, brother?
Yes.
All right.
I could talk to the angels.
All right. Why don't you share it with us, brother?
Okay. When I meditate, I go deep about that trance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I could see all of the angels around Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right.
All of the angels are talking to you right now, Mr. King.
Right. Right. That's all right, Brother Chris. You know what you're speaking about, and you're speaking about angels, and it comes back again. It comes back to that question. The Bible speaks about angels. So if we read our Bible and we believe that the Bible, when it talks about angels existing thousands of years ago, then what has changed? Why don't angels exist today in the year 2016? Thank you, Brother Chris.
But they do exist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right, brother, you have anything else you want to share with us?
No, that's about it.
All right. All right, and I'm going to give
God
that.
bless you.
All right, thank you, brother. All right, this Brother Chris, and you know, the brothers, I've been saying that for the past several months, but we're going to have to pay a visit to Brother Chris so that we can get him another interview, because it's been several years since we've actually had him interviewed. So we're going to do that and get him so that everybody will be able to share with Brother Chris. You know, in getting back to the discussion about prophets and being able to see things before they occur, what brought that to mind and what prompts me to discuss that is I've had discussions with folks about a feeling, okay, about a feeling that I've had. And that feeling being that something extraordinary was getting ready to happen. And as we talk a little bit more about powers, whether you call them spiritual powers or whether you break it down using scientific terminology, talking about matter and forces and the standard model of physics and all those types of things. No matter what language you use, spiritual language, scientific language, that feeling, that premonition, that foreknowledge that something is about to occur. And just this past week, there was some news that came out, and that news was kind of overshadowed, not kind of, it was very much overshadowed by what's happening in politics now. But there was some news, and it was broadcast on CNN, and it was broadcast through different mainstream media. And what the news was, that scientists, okay, not religious people, not spiritual people, but scientists were reporting and reported that they were receiving communications from outer space. Understand, receiving communications from out of space. And there's an organization called SETI, S-E-T-I, and it's a government operation, and it's a $1 billion operation. And what it is set up, and they have huge, enormous antennas aimed to outer space to be able to pick up communications and different radio frequencies. And they confirmed that they have picked up something, and it's coming, and it just to show you how long it took them to leak this information out, to verify it and leak it. These communications were picked up in May of last year. May of last year. And the location that they were coming from is a star system. And the star system, the name of the star system is HD 164595. So, Google that. Okay, just Google that. All right, HD, like heavy duty, HD 164595. Okay. And you'll see these, and they'll say these are scientists. Okay, scientists using all this expensive equipment. And they've picked up these radio signals, and they're trying to decipher it as to exactly what it is. And as I said, that, we could talk about hardware. We can talk about machines. We can talk about these elaborate antenna built by man to detect different radio frequencies, to detect different electromagnetic waves. We can talk about these objects that have been built, but this object, the human body, we've talked about this before, the human body, just pure science, pure biology, science, not anything hocus pocus, not voodoo, nothing like that. The human body is an instrument that transmits radio waves, electromagnetic waves, and receives those waves. We're talking about science, pure science. See, and I'm not talking about sound waves. See, we can understand that, right? We can understand that the human body produces sound waves when your vocal cords vibrate and it pushes the air out and it makes a sound, and that wave, the sound wave travels and is picked up by somebody's ear or by a microphone. We can understand that. We can understand when sounds are generated outside of our body and enter through our ear canal and cause our eardrum to vibrate. And then that vibration is translated into electrical impulses that travel through our nervous system into our brain. See, we can understand that. Those waves, we can understand that. But look, those aren't the only waves. When we see, our vision is a result of waves, light waves that are reflecting, bouncing off of objects, and then coming into our body and traveling through our optic nerve into our brain. So we are constantly, 24/7, emitting waves and receiving waves. And we understand the sound waves and the light waves, but there are other waves, other electrical forces that are emanating from our body 24/7. And as a matter of fact, science teaches us, and now for the young lady that made the comment last week on Facebook about getting more and more into the science. So let me do that. Science teaches us that everything that exists is made of matter. Okay? Everything that exists is made of matter. This ink pen, made of matter. This body, made of matter. These eyeglasses, made of matter. It's made of matter. And what is matter? Okay, matter is made of molecules. Okay, molecules. So you break down this ink pen. Okay, you break it down, and first you're going to break it down into some plastic. You melt it down. There's going to be some plastic. And then you melt that plastic down and break that plastic down, and you break that down into molecules. Okay, so we're dealing with science now, with molecules. And molecules is a little bitty thing. Okay, can't see it with your eye. You can see it, a whole bunch of them, like this ink pen, ain't nothing but a collection of molecules. This body right here, nothing but a collection of molecules. I got billions of molecules. And you break a molecule, okay, break a molecule down into smaller parts, and those smaller parts of a molecule are called atoms. So everything that is made of matter. Matter is made of molecules. Molecules is made of atoms. And a while ago, that was as far as science broke stuff down. You couldn't go any smaller than that, atoms. Smallest particle. But now science has broken atoms down. So now the atom, you can break the atom down. Its pieces, protons, neutrons, electrons. And then you can break, science has broken the atom down even smaller. And those smaller pieces, and this is a reference that I made earlier, and I want you to Google this, okay? Write this down. Standard, the scientific standard model, okay? The standard model. Okay, the standard model. And that standard model, that's getting into physics. So scientists always, the one question that scientists ask, and that's why. Okay, why? No matter what it is, why? And that's how they gain knowledge, and they have theories, they have hypotheses, and they try to, they say, well, this happens because of this. And then they test that hypothesis, they test it to see if it's so. And even though these little small particles, can't see them with the naked eye, over the years they've devised machines to be able to detect these small particles. And there's a small particle right now, and scientists think that this might be the smallest you can break stuff down. And it's called a boson. And there's billions of dollars that are spent on this machine in Switzerland. It's called a super collider. And the only purpose of this is to try to detect the small particle that scientists have theorized exists. And we're getting into the science of it, and let me now what I'm going to do is just bridge. When you talk about physics and you talk about matter, there's something else that's a part of that standard model. And that something else is they call forces. Okay, and I think it's 4 forces. It's electromagnetic, gravity, and a couple others. I forgot what the other ones are. So there's matter, and then there are forces. But when you break everything down, it comes out to energy. It's pure energy. Right? Energy. And I was looking at something, looking at a discussion I had, a paper I wrote several years ago. It may have just been a couple of years ago. And it was discussing this. And the discussion was to the effect that if you had a bowl of water and just think about existence. I'm not talking about think about the earth or think about the universe. I'm talking about think of existence. Existence, period. Existence taking in everything that ever was, is not, ever will be. Existence. If you think about existence as being just one unit of energy, okay? And let's say that energy, a way to visualize it is that energy being a bowl of water. Okay? So let's just kind of visualize that. You have a bowl of energy and a bowl of water. Now, if you take that water and you change the temperature on that water, you have ice cubes starting to form in that water. So some of that water will turn to ice. It's going to be the same water, but now you have part of it is a liquid, part of it has coalesced, has come together, has solidified into an ice cube. Same water. So now let's use that analogy to this bowl of energy. And some of that energy coalesces and forms matter. It's still energy, but it's in a different form. Just like that bowl of water, you got an ice cube floating around in it, but that ice cube is just a different form of everything that's around it. Still water. This matter that has coalesced, still surrounded by and floating around in energy, is still energy, just a different form of energy. See, in science, when you break science down, science tells us this. Physics tells us that. Physics tells us that when you start breaking that atom down and break it all the way down, break as far as you can, you're going to wind up with just energy. So now we're talking about science. And I had a brother that used an expression a couple of weeks ago. We were having a discussion about this. And the terminology that he used, the language that he was using, was that when you break all them pieces of ice, bring them back to that original form, that water, when you break all those pieces of matter down and bring them back to their original form, their initial state, break it down to energy. You break this body down to energy. Break this ink pen down to just pure energy. Break everything down to energy. The term that brother was using, he didn't say God, but the term he used was the essence. Okay, the essence. Right? So, within that framework of looking at things and discussing things using scientific terms, that when you break everything down, scientifically, when you break everything down, everything is all part of one thing. There's no one thing over here, one thing over there. It's one thing. That's scientific terms. Everything is everything. Now we start sounding like stuff that we read in the Bible, the all in all, the I am. And as the brother said, the essence. All right. So I hope for the viewer last week that wrote the comment about go into science a little bit more, trying to keep it on a level scientifically, on a level where a lot of folks could relate to it. We could go into deeper using different scientific terminology. We could talk about quarks and all that kind of stuff, but it's not necessary for us to go that deep. And I'll just invite you, if you a little bit more scientific, you want a little bit more scientific, look up, when you take in Google, quantum physics. Okay, quantum physics. Just Google that, and that'll bring you there. All right, let's go on and let's move on a little bit. And as you see on the screen now, the Magi and the Rosicrucians, and that's spelled wrong. I see that typo. It should be Rosicrucians, R-O, Rosicrucians. But they, if you read the Bible, the Bible, all throughout the Bible, it talks about magicians, folks that could do supernatural things. It talks about Moses that was able to do supernatural things. Not only Moses, but it talks about Pharaoh's magicians that were able to do supernatural things. Okay? That's in the Old Testament. New Testament talks about magicians. New Testament warns us to don't be messing with the magicians and the sorcerers. See, tells us about that. But on the other hand, it tells us don't be messing with it. But on the other hand, it tells us that when the Christ child was born, the magicians, the Magi, the wise men, saw his star in the east and followed it to where the Christ child laid. And they had such foreknowledge. They were able to see in the future. They knew that this was a special child. Nobody told them about it. This is some supernatural that they had. That's what the Bible tells us about that. And the question comes again, if all that was true thousands of years ago, what has changed? Do they have folks like that now in the year 2016? And I'm here to tell you my beliefs. No, not my belief, my knowledge. My knowledge, they do. And that knowledge is based not just on something spiritual, not just because the Bible says they had it back then, not just because the Quran said they had it back then, not just because all these other historical books talk about it happening back then. But science tells me that is real. Science. Okay. So those of you that don't believe in the Bible, don't believe in the Quran, don't believe in religion, don't believe in spirituality, don't believe in voodoo, don't believe in anything, but you do believe in science, then science will tell you that all of this stuff and more is real. All right. You know, and look, I said earlier, and I say this every week at the beginning of the show. I say it all during the show. I say it at the end of the show. The purpose of this show is one thing. It ain't to convince nobody about no powers or nothing else like that. The purpose of this show is one thing. And that's to deliver, not to convince, but to deliver the message. Not to convince you about the message, but to deliver the message that there is an almighty being. So all this stuff I'm talking about, who and what we really are, what it is that we're really capable of, all that stuff, one purpose, delivering the message that God is almighty. Yes, God could create a being that could turn water into wine. Yes, God could create a being that could walk on the water. Yes, God could create a being that could bring other beings back to life. Yes, God could create a being that could lay hands on another being and heal that being. Yes, God could create a being that could foretell what's going to happen in the future. Yes, God is almighty. The God I'm here to tell you about, almighty. Not some of the power, not most of the power, all of the power. The God I'm here to tell you about. All right, let's go on, see if we can get our announcements. Okay? We may not get our words of inspiration, but we'll get our announcements. All right, announcements. Oh, we got to it. Brother Chris's prayer line, 504-866-5042 is open Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Meditation training, 9:30 to 4:30, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, I got to stop for a minute. You heard Brother Chris call in and talk about meditation training and how he sees angels. Let me take and share something with you now. A lot of you all have computers, right? Right. And a lot of you know that a computer, and I'm talking science now, just plain science. A computer, you could have that computer and it can be running many different programs at the same time, right? You could have that computer streaming music and at the same time, you're operating a word processing program, and at the same time, a graphics program, and then you might have a calendar program operating in the background. A whole bunch of different programs operating at the same time in that computer. But something else that you know is that the more programs you have running at the same time on that computer, some of them programs are going to start to run a little bit slower. And it is possible to have so many programs running at the same time that you can't run anymore. And that's science. And just break science down a little bit. Now, you know, the way the computers operate on those electrical impulses coming up through them little pins that's on a chip that's attached to the motherboard. And when the electrical impulses come in, they got to take turns coming, and depending upon what program is running, they kind of get jammed up and clogged up. Well, guess what? This computer operates the same way. So if I'm listening to the radio and watching the TV and somebody's talking to me, and at the same time I'm trying to type on the typewriter on the computer, this CPU could get jammed up. And the more I shut some of them programs down, when I turn off that radio, when I turn off that computer, I turn off that TV, I'm able to focus on whatever other task that I'm doing. So when you talk about meditating, when Brother Chris talks about meditating, he's talking about turning off all them other little programs, turning off the TV, turning off everything that might distract us. Turn them off. And the more distractions that we eliminate, the more of that power that we have in us that we can focus, bringing us to that other level of consciousness. See, look, and I'm talking to my Bible reading people now, all right? This is my Bible reading people. When Jesus first started his ministry, what did he do? What did he do? It tells us he went out in the desert. He wasn't around his disciples. He went out in the desert for 40 days. And at that time, it said that Satan came and tempted him, right? When he went out, he was focusing. He didn't have his disciples distracting him. He didn't have the townspeople distracting him. He was able to focus, meditate. Moses, when it was time for Moses to really get down with it, what did he do? Went up to the mountain. He didn't bring his boys up with him. He didn't bring his brother Aaron. No, he went by himself. He was able to cut them distractions off. And he was able to focus so much that he heard the voice of God. So this meditation is nothing new. It is nothing exotic, nothing far out. Matter of fact, ain't that what Jesus told us to do? Wait a minute. What did Jesus say? When you want to pray, what do? You cut off all them distractions. What Jesus say? He said, go in your closet. Go in your closet. He didn't say, go in the temple. He didn't say that. He said, go in your closet. You want to communicate with God? Go in your closet. All right, meditate. Meditation. So we talked about it from a religious standpoint and spiritual standpoint, and then we talked about it from a scientific standpoint. When you're cutting down the use of this CPU, the distractions of different programs, and focusing your energy. Focusing that energy. All right. All right, let's see. Bible study in Copeland, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Suggested readings. Now, this is the part that Brother Chris changed all of this, and I didn't get a chance to put it up on the screen. But the books now, not the ones that you see on the screen, but the books right now are the books of 1 Kings, Zechariah, and Peter. Okay, 1 Kings, Zechariah, and Peter, and also James. Right, he did say James. All right, and Brother Chris wanted me to share this with you, that mineral water is good for your health, your heart, your mind, and your soul. Mineral water. Okay, so that's some information that Brother Chris, I didn't get a chance to put on the screen, but I did make the announcement. I told you earlier about our main website, and that's www.godisalmighty.org. Visit that website, and you'll see there's all of our different outlets. As far as we have a religious discussion blog, Facebook. Now, there are two different Facebook pages. You can go to the Messenger Facebook page, and also there's one that's Donatus and King, and that's our Twitter address, also Twitter at Donatus and King, Instagram at DNK Messenger, and YouTube at DNK Messenger. And you don't have to remember all that. Just go to our main website, www.godisalmighty.org, and there are links. There are links that you could just link, and it'll take you straight to our Twitter, Instagram, all the rest of that. Minister Antoine Brown's prayer line. Minister Brown, he's doing better, but he is still in a skilled nursing home. Okay? Minister Antoine Brown. And Minister Brown, I hope you're watching, and I'm letting that information come on out. And as you asked me to let everybody know that you welcome telephone calls, that even though you're in that skilled nursing home, you're doing some rehab, and that nursing home is in Denham Springs, and the address is 8375 Florida Boulevard, room 25 in Denham Springs, Louisiana. And if you didn't get a chance to write that information down, you give me a call, and I'll give you that information. Minister Brown, great fella. He's been doing his ministry for a long time, and right now, he's asking for our prayers. So keep Minister Brown in your prayers, and then give him a call. And even though he is in a nursing home right now, rehabbing, even though he's there, he's still thinking about us and still operating his prayer line. And that prayer line is the phone number for the prayer line. That's the 504-214-1379. So, even if you don't need any prayers, just give him a call and say hello. Let him know that you're thinking about him and praying for him. Peacekeepers of New Orleans, 504-723-3976, the Beef Hotline. Give them a call. Rock of Ages Ministry International, Apostle Ronnie Bailey. A late happy birthday, Brother Bailey. This past week was your birthday. You celebrated your birthday. His main website, or their main website, www.ronniebailey.com. St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church, 8321 Birch Street, here in the city of New Orleans. Services are Saturdays, 4 p.m., Sundays, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Call 311 for smoke detectors. And I want to just, at this time, thank God that that hurricane is not headed this way, and we want to pray for all those folks out there in Florida. Pray that they are safe, and pray that God blesses them with strength in what they're going through, and just thanking God that that hurricane did not come this way. Holy Cross Lutheran Church, 6154 Press Drive, here in the city of New Orleans. Services Sundays, 10 a.m. Reverend Aubrey J. Watson Jr. is the pastor. The number 504-288-3437. Call now to register for hurricane evacuation assistance, or go to www.nola.gov/ready. Citizens with disabilities are encouraged to register now. Call in. Call in, just as I was talking about that hurricane now heading to Florida. It could have been heading this way. So call now and register for hurricane evacuation assistance. Once again, please don't leave children in your car, and check your back seat for children that are in there. All right, tonight, we're not going to have a chance to get to our words of inspiration, but everything I've said to this point hopefully has been some inspiration, particularly that message that God is Almighty. May it inspire you, no matter what it is that you have to go through in this upcoming week. Even if a hurricane was heading our way, God can bless you with peace of mind, no matter what it is, no matter what your condition, no matter how bleak the future might appear. The God I'm here to tell you about can bless you, and that's my prayer, that whatever it is God has planned for you in this upcoming week, that plan includes peace.